The sun shone brightly over a forgotten planet. This was Earth, a world once filled with humans, now lost to time. 500,000 years had passed since humanity mysteriously disappeared, leaving behind only stories and ruins. A group of aliens from the Galactic Federation decided to explore this strange and beautiful planet, hoping to uncover its secrets. Captain Zara led the team of explorers. She was a tall, blue-skinned alien with bright green eyes and long, flowing hair. Her team included a wise scientist named Dr. Kor, a brave warrior named Tarek, and a skilled pilot called Lyra. Together, they set out in their small spaceship, eager to discover what lay beneath the thick layers of vines and dirt. As they landed, the crew stepped onto the soft, grassy ground. The air was fresh and filled with the sweet scent of flowers. Colorful plants grew all around them, and strange creatures moved in the distance. They looked up at the sky, where 2 moons hung, casting a soft glow over the land. "It's beautiful," Lyra said, her eyes wide with wonder. "I can't believe this place was home to such advanced beings." The aliens began their journey by exploring an old city they had spotted from the sky. The buildings were covered in moss and vines, but remnants of their grand design could still be seen. Tarek stepped forward, brushing his hand over a crumbling wall. What happened to the people who built this? He wondered aloud. How could such a powerful civilization just vanish? Dr. Kor took out a small device, scanning the area. "I can detect energy readings below the surface," he announced, his voice filled with excitement. "There might be hidden technology buried here." The team followed him as he led them to a large, square structure partially buried in the ground. It looked ancient, yet oddly familiar. "Let's dig!" Zara commanded, her heart racing with anticipation. The crew quickly set to work, using their tools to clear away the dirt and debris. As they dug deeper, they discovered metal panels and strange machines that seemed to pulse with energy. "This must be part of their technology," Dr. Kor exclaimed, his eyes sparkling with curiosity. Hours passed as they unearthed more artifacts. They found old maps and recordings, all hinting at a hidden fleet of warships that humanity had built long ago. "These ships were designed for battle," Zara said, studying a faded holographic image of a massive spaceship. If they still exist, they could be a powerful force. Just as excitement filled the air, Lyra pointed to a nearby mountain range. "Look, there's something shining up there." The team turned their gazes toward the peaks where a faint light flickered. Zara felt a rush of adrenaline. "Let's go check it out," she ordered. They trekked through thick forests, the sounds of unknown creatures echoing around them. The deeper they went, the more they realized how alive this planet still was. Vibrant colors surrounded them, but there was an underlying mystery in the air. What had happened to the humans? And what secrets were hidden within the mountains? After a long hike, they finally reached the base of the mountain. The shining light was now clearer, glowing softly. It seemed to come from a small entrance in the rock. Zara approached the entrance, feeling a mix of fear and excitement. "What do you think is inside?" Tarek asked, gripping his weapon tightly. "I don't know, but we have to find out," Zara replied, her heart pounding. With a deep breath, she entered the dark cave. The team followed closely behind, their eyes adjusting to the dim light. As they moved deeper inside, the glow grew brighter, revealing ancient symbols etched into the walls. Suddenly, Dr. Kor stopped. "I can feel a strong energy here," he said, raising his device. "It's as if something powerful is waiting for us." Zara exchanged glances with her team. The air was thick with tension and excitement. What would they find in this mysterious cave? As they ventured further, they were unaware that they were awakening a long-lost legacy, one that would change their understanding of Earth and its past forever. As Zara and her team moved deeper into the cave, the soft glow illuminated the ancient symbols carved into the stone walls. Each symbol told a story, but the team could not understand them. The air felt electric, and the crew sensed they were on the brink of something extraordinary. Dr. Kor held his scanning device close to the wall, eyes wide with wonder. "These symbols might hold the key to the past," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. "They could be instructions or warnings about the fleet." Tarek stepped closer, intrigued. "What if the fleet is still functional? It could be a powerful ally?" Suddenly, Lyra pointed to a large archway at the end of the cave. "Look over there!" "It seems to lead somewhere." The team gathered around, excitement bubbling inside them. They approached the archway where the glow was brightest. As they stepped through, they found themselves in a massive underground chamber. The sight before them took their breath away. Rows upon rows of colossal warships lined the walls, each one gleaming under the light. The ships were unlike anything they had ever seen, with sleek designs and intricate patterns. They looked powerful and majestic, waiting for their pilots to return. This is incredible!" Zara exclaimed, her heart racing. Dr. Kor rushed to the nearest ship, tracing his fingers over its smooth surface. "These vessels must have been built for interstellar travel and combat," he said, excitement evident in his voice. "We have to see if they still work." The crew felt a surge of hope. The fate of the fleet could change everything for their civilizations. Zara motioned for everyone to gather. "Let's start the activation process. If we can awaken these ships, we can learn about humanity and their technology." The team quickly set to work, following the old symbols they had seen on the walls. They searched for controls or buttons, anything that might reactivate the fleet. After several tense moments, Tarek found a panel on one of the ships that looked familiar. "Here! I think this is it." He pressed a button, and the ship came to life with a low hum. Lights flickered on, and the ship's interior glowed brightly. The crew gasped, their eyes wide with amazement. "Keep going! Let's activate more!" Zara shouted, filled with energy. One by one, the ships began to awaken, each emitting soft sounds and lights. The chamber was filled with a chorus of hums and beeps as the fleet started to stir. It was as if the ships had been waiting for this moment for centuries. As they worked, the team discovered a large central console. "This must be the command center," Dr. Kor said, his voice filled with awe. They gathered around the console, trying to decipher the controls. Zara felt a wave of determination wash over her. "If we can learn to control these ships, we can protect Earth and prevent the mistakes of the past." Suddenly, a holographic image flickered to life above the console. It displayed a map of the galaxy with Earth at its center. "What is this?" Lyra asked, astonished. The image showed lines connecting different star systems, some marked with warning signs. Dr. Kor studied the map closely. It seems these ships were designed not just for defense, but also for exploration. They were sent out to keep an eye on potential threats. The crew exchanged glances, realizing the significance of their find. These ships were meant to protect Earth from dangers beyond their world. However, as they celebrated their discovery, a feeling of caution filled the room. Zara glanced at her team, concern etched on her face. What happened to humanity? Why did they disappear? The question hung in the air, heavy with uncertainty. They had awakened a powerful fleet, but at what cost? As they activated the last ship, the holographic display changed, showing footage of past battles. The images were shocking. Fierce fights against unknown enemies flashed before their eyes. "These were the battles that led to their downfall," Tarek whispered, realizing the weight of their discovery. The chamber fell silent as the crew absorbed the truth. They were not just uncovering a fleet, they were unearthing the legacy of a civilization that had faced great dangers. Zara felt a sense of responsibility settle over her. They had to honor humanity's memory and use this power wisely. Determined, Zara addressed her team. "We must be careful with this fleet. It's not just a weapon. It's a reminder of what can happen if we're not cautious." The others nodded in agreement, understanding the importance of their mission. With the fleet awakened and its secrets beginning to unfold, the team knew their journey was only just beginning. They had a powerful legacy to protect and a world to safeguard. Together, they would uncover the truth about humanity's past and ensure that their story would not be forgotten. As the first light of dawn filtered into the vast underground chamber, Zara and her team gathered around the central console. The air buzzed with excitement and anticipation. They had awakened the ancient fleet, but now they had to see what it could do. "Today, we will test the power of these ships," Zara declared, her voice steady. The crew nodded, each member filled with a mix of eagerness and nervousness. They knew they were about to step into uncharted territory. Dr. Kor moved to the control panel, his fingers gliding over the holographic display. "First, we need to choose a ship for the test flight. I suggest we take the one that powered up first. It seems to have a strong energy reading." The others agreed, and Tarek quickly made his way to the ship, feeling its smooth surface. The ship, sleek and intimidating, seemed to hum with energy as they approached. "Let's get on board," Zara said, leading the way. As they entered, The interior was illuminated with soft lights. The walls were adorned with strange symbols, the same ones they had seen in the cave. "It's like it's alive," Lyra murmured, awe in her eyes. They settled into their seats and the ship's systems activated automatically. "Welcome, crew of the Eternal Dawn," a calm voice echoed through the cabin. "Initiating pre-flight checks." The crew exchanged excited glances. This was unlike any technology they had ever encountered. Dr. Core monitored the console, inputting commands. "All systems are operational," he announced. "We're ready for takeoff." Zara felt a surge of adrenaline. "Let's do this!" Tarek initiated the launch sequence, and the ship began to lift off the ground. Slowly, it floated above the chamber, the engines roaring to life. The crew held on tightly, exhilarated and terrified. "We're leaving the cave!" Lyra shouted, her voice barely audible over the noise. With a sudden burst of power, the ship soared out of the cave and into the open air. The blue sky stretched endlessly above them, and the planet below was a beautiful tapestry of green and blue. "This is amazing!" Zara exclaimed, a huge smile on her face. They had never experienced anything like it. As they climbed higher, Tarek took control of the navigation. "Let's head towards the mountains. I want to see how fast this ship can go." Zara nodded, her heart racing with excitement. "Full speed ahead!" With a flick of a switch, Tarek pushed the throttle and the ship surged forward. They flew over forests and rivers, the world rushing by beneath them. The wind whistled past and the thrill of flight filled their hearts. "We're flying faster than I imagined!" Lyra yelled, her laughter blending with the roar of the engines. Suddenly, Dr. Core noticed something on the console. "Look, the ship has a combat mode! We can test its defensive systems." Zara's eyes sparkled with interest. "Let's see what it can do." Dr. Core activated the combat systems, and the ship responded with a low hum. "We need a target to test it on," Tarek suggested. They scanned the horizon and spotted a small island in the distance. "Let's use that!" Zara agreed. As they approached the island, the ship's systems displayed various options for defense. "We can simulate an attack," Dr. Core explained. "It will help us understand how the ship reacts in battle." "Let's do it!" Zara commanded. Tarek adjusted the controls, and the ship's targeting system locked onto the island. "Firing simulation now!" With a whoosh, the ship released a blast of energy that lit up the sky. The beam struck the island, creating a brilliant flash. "Incredible!" Lyra shouted, her eyes wide. It didn't cause real damage, but the power is amazing. The crew cheered as the ship performed a series of maneuvers, showcasing its agility and speed. They felt like they were in the heart of an epic adventure. However, as they celebrated, Zara's mind drifted back to their mission. "This power is incredible, but we must use it wisely," she reminded them. Just then, an alarm blared, breaking through the excitement. "Warning! Incoming object detected!" The crew's joy turned to panic as they scanned the skies. A dark shape appeared, moving quickly toward them. "What is that?" Tarek shouted, gripping the controls. Dr. Core's eyes widened. "It looks like a ship, but not one of ours." The object rapidly approached, revealing a fleet of alien vessels, their weapons primed and ready. Zara's heart raced. "We're being targeted! Prepare for evasive maneuvers!" Tarek quickly adjusted the controls, trying to dodge the incoming fire. "Hold on!" he shouted as the ship veered left and right, narrowly avoiding the blasts. The crew's excitement turned to fear as they faced an unexpected battle. "Activate the defense systems," Zara ordered, her voice steady despite the chaos. The ship responded instantly, and energy shields sprang to life. They were in a fight for their lives, testing not just the ship's power but their own courage. In that moment, Zara understood the true weight of what they had uncovered. The legacy of humanity was not just about technology, it was about facing the unknown and standing strong against the odds. The room was filled with tension as the members of the Galactic Council gathered. They had heard rumors of a mysterious fleet awakening on a long-lost planet. Now they faced a crucial decision: what to do about the powerful warships that had once belonged to humanity. The council chamber buzzed with whispers and heated discussions. High Chancellor Vorex, a tall alien with shimmering scales, stood at the front, his gaze sweeping over the room. "We cannot ignore this discovery," he said, his voice deep and commanding. "These ships could shift the balance of power in the galaxy. We must act." Seated in a circle were representatives from various alien species, each with their own agendas. Zathra, a small, quick-witted creature with large eyes, leaned forward. But what if the humans return? What if they are still out there hiding? We cannot let them regain their power. Another member, a hulking warrior named Cruel, crossed his arms. We should take the fleet for ourselves. With those ships, we can dominate any enemy. The humans will not return. They disappeared for a reason. Murmurs of agreement rippled through the council. Many were eager to seize the opportunity for power, but others were hesitant. The representative from the peaceful planet of Eldara, a gentle being named Lyrael, raised her hand. We must remember what humanity stood for. They were not just warriors, they were explorers, creators, and thinkers. If they return, we should be ready to welcome them, not attack. Vorax nodded, considering Lyrael's words. If we can find a way to communicate with them, we might learn from their past. However, we cannot ignore the potential threat. The debate continued, voices rising and falling, each member arguing for their perspective. Finally, Vorax called for silence. Let us send a delegation to the planet. We will observe the fleet and gather information. We must understand the situation before making any rash decisions. As the council voted on the motion, Zara and her team watched from their ship, hidden in a nearby mountain range. They had narrowly escaped the attack from the alien vessels, and now they were on high alert. Zara felt a mix of anxiety and determination. They're planning something, she whispered to Dr. Kor. We need to be ready, Lyra added. We should gather more information about the council. If they decide to take the fleet, we have to protect it. We can't let them misuse this power. Zara nodded, feeling the weight of responsibility on her shoulders. Let's send a signal to the fleet. We need to prepare for whatever comes next. They began working on a plan to communicate with the warships, hoping to gain their loyalty and support. Meanwhile, the council had made their decision. They would send a small group of representatives to the planet. Vorax and his advisors chose a handful of skilled diplomats and warriors. We must approach carefully, Vorax instructed. If they sense danger, they may retaliate. As the delegation prepared for departure, Zara and her team watched from their hidden vantage point. They needed to anticipate the council's next moves. We can't let them catch us off guard again, Tarek said, looking at Zara. What's our plan? We should use the ship's advanced systems to our advantage, Zara replied. We can monitor their communications and movements. If they try to take the fleet, we'll be ready to fight back. The team worked quickly, programming their ship to intercept the council's signals. They needed every advantage they could get. The thought of the powerful fleet falling into the wrong hands filled them with dread. Days passed as the council's delegation traveled to the planet. Zara and her crew remained vigilant, their eyes trained on the skies for any signs of danger. They knew that the fate of humanity's legacy rested in their hands. Finally, the moment arrived. Zara spotted a ship descending toward the valley, its sleek design glinting in the sunlight. "They're here!" she exclaimed, her heart racing. "Get ready!" As the alien delegation landed, the crew of the Eternal Dawn gathered their courage. They had to make a stand not just for themselves, but for the memory of humanity. Zara took a deep breath, feeling the weight of history pressing down on her. "This is our moment," she said, determination shining in her eyes. With their plan in place, they prepared to confront the council, ready to defend the legacy of humanity's fleet and ensure it would not be used for destruction. The air crackled with tension as the fate of the fleet and possibly the galaxy hung in the balance. The air was thick with tension as Zara and her crew prepared for the final confrontation. The council's delegates had landed on the planet, and they were ready to seize the ancient fleet. Zara knew that they had to act quickly. This was the moment they had been waiting for. Inside their ship, the Eternal Dawn, Zara glanced at her team, each of them filled with determination. "We have to protect the fleet at all costs," she said firmly. "If we let them take it, we may never get another chance to stop them." Dr. Kor nodded, his eyes focused. "We need to disrupt their communication and gather as much data as possible about their ships. That way we can identify their weaknesses." Lyra was already working on the ship's systems. "I'm hacking into their signals now. We'll know their plans before they even make a move." Tarek, gripping the controls, looked back at Zara. "When do we make our move?" "Now!" Zara commanded. She could see the council delegates moving toward the fleet, their intentions clear. She knew they had to act before it was too late. "Let's launch the ship and intercept them." As the Eternal Dawn took off, Zara felt a rush of adrenaline. They soared over the valley, the ancient warships looming in the distance like giant guardians of humanity's past. The sight filled her with both pride and fear. Dr. Core monitored the Council's movements. They're already powering up their ships. We need to get there first. He worked swiftly, gathering data on the enemy's fleet. As they approached, the Council ships shimmered with energy, preparing for a fight. Zara could see Vorex and his crew on the leading ship, their faces determined. They won't back down, she said, gripping the controls tightly. We have to outmaneuver them. Firing up the shields! Tarek shouted, his fingers flying over the console. The ship hummed to life, enveloping them in a protective barrier. Zara felt a sense of confidence wash over her. They had the power of the ancient fleet on their side. Suddenly, the Council's ships opened fire. Bright blasts of energy shot toward the eternal dawn, illuminating the sky. Evasive maneuvers! Zara shouted, yanking the controls. The ship twisted and turned, narrowly avoiding the blasts. Let's fight back! Lyra shouted. She had been monitoring their systems closely. I'm ready to fire! Zara nodded, and Lyra activated the ship's weapon systems. The Eternal Dawn responded with a powerful blast that struck one of the Council ships. It erupted in a burst of sparks, sending debris flying. The crew cheered, their spirits lifted by the first victory. However, the Council was not easily deterred. The remaining ships regrouped and advanced, firing more blasts. The air crackled with energy, and the ground trembled beneath the force of the battle. Hold on! Tarek warned as they dodged another wave of attacks. Zara's heart raced. We have to create a distraction, she said, scanning the area. If we can draw their fire away from the fleet, we might have a chance. Dr. Core quickly formulated a plan. I can send a signal to the fleet, instructing them to launch countermeasures. It will create confusion among the Council's forces. Do it! Zara commanded, determination in her voice. As Dr. Core worked, Lyra prepared to launch a barrage of fire toward the Council ships. In a moment of chaos, Zara saw the ancient fleet responding to their commands. The warships began to activate, their powerful systems humming to life. They're awake, she exclaimed. This is our moment! The Council's ships were caught off guard as the ancient warships rose from their resting places, ready to defend their legacy. With a roar, they launched attacks, the sky filled with explosions. The battle intensified. Zara felt the weight of responsibility on her shoulders as she fought not just for her crew, but for the memory of humanity. The ancient ships joined the fight, and together they pushed back against the Council's forces. Zara led her team with bravery and skill. They dodged incoming fire, retaliating with precision. The Council ships struggled to keep up with the onslaught from the ancient fleet. Zara's heart swelled with pride as they fought side by side with the legacy of humanity. Just when it seemed the battle was turning in their favor, a powerful energy blast hit the Eternal Dawn, knocking them off course. The crew scrambled to regain control, their hearts racing with fear. We need to stabilize! Tarek shouted. Lyra was quick on her feet, working the controls to reroute power. I'm on it! She said, her fingers flying over the console. Zara took a deep breath, focusing on the fight ahead. We can't give up! We have to keep pushing! With renewed determination, the crew rallied. They worked as one, using every ounce of skill and strength they had. Together, they faced the Council, determined to protect the ancient fleet and secure humanity's legacy. As the battle raged on, Zara realized that this fight was about more than just power. It was about honor, unity, and the belief that humanity's spirit could never be extinguished. With the fleet behind them and their hearts set on victory, they would face whatever came next, ready to defend the legacy of humanity against all odds.